Hey guys, how you going? Hope you're all doing very well. This afternoon I'm going to be doing yet another movie review for you all, so hopefully you find this one interesting. This movie is a dark drama from France, French language, English subs, released in the year 1999, directed by Francois Ozon, and this film is called Criminal Lovers. So Criminal Lovers is about a young man who is deeply in love with this beautiful woman, and the woman appears to have mutual feelings, but she won't develop this relationship further until he follows through with a request that she has to prove that he loves her. And that request is to murder another man who she says raped her in the past. So this guy is not going to ask any questions. He follows through with this request, and now they can live life happily ever after. But unfortunately, their lives are never going to be the same because now they're on the run. So they're going through the woods and they come across a hermit who lives in this remote cabin. And at the start, it seems the hermit is harmless enough, but pretty soon his true colours come out, and it turns out he is a predator. So he keeps them in the basement like caged animals, and he's going to act out on all of his deepest, darkest fantasies, whether they like it or not. So they are lambs to the slaughter, and whether or not they pass a point of no return is something you're going to have to find out for yourself, because that's as far as I'm going with my synopsis. Now my thoughts on Criminal Lovers. Francois Ozon is definitely one of the forgotten filmmakers as far as the French extreme wave is concerned. When we think of French extremity, you think of Alexandre Bastillo, Alexandre Aja, Julien Maury, Pascal Laugier, and Xavier Gens. These are the directors that created Inside, Martyrs, Frontiers, and High Tension. These are films that really hit the worldwide stage as far as the French extreme wave, and this is what really opened our eyes to challenging cinema. It was all about really excessive gore and just high-end production, and so that was definitely the kickstart of the wave. But what a lot of people don't realise is that Francois Ozon actually started it before these four films were approached. And this movie doesn't get the recognition that I definitely think it deserves. And this director is definitely someone that a lot of French extreme filmgoers definitely have to check out. He made another movie called Double Lover that I saw before this film, and I thought Double Lover was sexually very extreme and very uncomfortable. But what makes this director very interesting is that his extreme content has a strong purpose, and so it hits you on more than one level. So it's not just a rebellious sort of director who's hitting you over the head with visual extremity just for the sake of being rebellious. And so that sort of aspect of filmmaking doesn't have any really strong purpose, and so it doesn't hit you with as much impact as a Francois Ozon film would. So if you've seen Double Lover, that was a horror film, but it was a horror film done in a very subtle way because it came through very naturally. I've reviewed that movie quite a while ago, so if you want to check out the further details on that film, please feel free to check it out. But then coming into Criminal Lovers, this was the first film that kick-started that French extreme. So I was really excited to see what Francois Ozon could actually produce in this movie, and I wanted to track this movie down for the longest time. But I don't pirate films, and so I was waiting for it to be at a reasonable price on DVD, and it took a long time for this movie to finally come down in price that I thought was reasonable to purchase. And I finally purchased it. I was very excited to see what this would produce, and what Francois Ozon produces in Criminal Lovers is one of the most uncomfortable experiences that you will come across. This is an uncomfortable experience through the absorbing atmosphere. This is not an uncomfortable experience through excessive violence or excessive sexual content. Now, the sexual content is very high impact, but it's done in a very natural way, a very matter-of-fact way. And that matter-of-fact way just makes it creepy, is because it's not trying too hard. It's just coming through naturally. It's like this director has a natural dark force inside him that's coming out and being vividly displayed on the screen. So this is a modern retelling of Hansel and Gretel, but it's definitely not a retelling for kids, because this film, it went to places that I wasn't quite prepared for, and because it wasn't trying too hard, I thought I'd never desensitise myself to this situation. So this is the hallmark of a very good director, and this is the reason why I believe that Francois Ozon is an incredibly underrated director. I would say that this is a better film than Double Lover, because Double Lover had a lot going on about it, but this movie has a lot more. This is not only a modern retelling of Hansel and Gretel, but this is also a film about manipulation. Manipulating the innocent and how corruptive that is. And so you've got the woman who is manipulating the main character, but also the hermit who's manipulating the main character and the woman. And so it's like the level of the food chain. Someone's manipulating someone weaker than them, but then ultimately they're getting manipulated themselves. And so it's that demonstration of power and how power can be used in a very dark way. And I thought the character of the hermit was incredibly intense, very scary, but again, because it's so natural and so easygoing in its provocative nature, I just thought as though it hits you on that very silent sort of level of creepiness. in that it's slowly absorbing you to a point where before you know it, you're stuck in a situation. That situation is very, very hellish. I thought the cabin was extremely uncomfortable. When they're locked in the basement, I thought, well, what is this hermit all about? And when you actually find out what the hermit wants, this is where it goes into the sexual aspect of the film. And that sexual awakening that these characters have, I thought was done in a very, it felt like a really bad dream, in that the main character, he's going through a certain awakening himself, and I thought that awakening was just incredibly strange. And so the whole film has a really bizarre quality to it that I think a lot of extreme fans are going to really, really appreciate. I'm not going to say this is a film that you're going to enjoy, because it's certainly not that. There is a sex scene at the end that I thought was incredibly bizarre. In fact, it was bordering on being funny. But again, it wasn't being too silly to really disjoint itself as far as the tone is concerned. So the whole film, the acting, Jeremy Renier, who plays the main character, once again, very, very innocent. He portrays a character that you can really relate to, but then the corruption of the outside influence is starting to shape him in a different manner. But nothing is ever matter of fact. Nothing is ever in concrete. It doesn't hit you over the head. It just slowly absorbs you. It doesn't give you enough information to really point out everything, but it gives you enough to really creep you out. So atmospherically, I thought this film was brilliant. And that's the reason why I would highly recommend it to anyone out there who likes your extreme cinema. The only problems I have with the movie is that it doesn't follow a generic formula. So if you're after that generic type of storytelling, then Criminal Lovers is not for you. But this is a film that doesn't rely on violence, doesn't rely on excessive, explicit content, but it has the content behind it, and because it's used for such a strong purpose, it just hits you over the head so much harder than it would if you could actually see everything that was going on. So it's challenging cinema, but it's challenging cinema at its best. I'm going to give Criminal Lovers 4 stars. Alright guys, that's it for my review. Hope you enjoyed it. Till next time, keep watching movies, and I'll see you later.